And now it is time for the message for all ages.
There you go.
So I invite any children who wish to come forward.
Go with your brother, Kim. Let me have your truck. Hurry up. Go with your
Okay, so I'll bet at least some of you know what this animal is. You sure it's a groundhog? You think so? It's a groundhog, and he's eating a piece of clover. So it's actually a much warmer day where this groundhog is than it is right here, right now. So why am I showing you a picture of a groundhog? Because it's Groundhog Day, the 2nd of February. And so what I want to share with you this morning is the real story of Groundhog Day. Okay? And it began a long, long time ago with a groundhog by the name of Philbert. And the story begins while he is asleep. And he sleeps for a very long time in the winter. We call that what? Hibernating. You're right. Oh boy, we're smart today. Now, Philbert's birthday was actually in about mid to late March. And one year his friends decided that they were going to throw him a real big birthday party when he awoke from his winter hibernation, because he would always awake just about at the time that his birthday occurred. So all of his friends made sure that Philbert would awake from his hibernation on his birthday to this beautiful display of spring flowers, especially of the flowers that he liked the best, this flower. So what's this flower? This is a daffodil. That's right. Philbert's favorite color was yellow, and he loved daffodils. And so, in preparation for his birthday, underground, all of the rabbits and the squirrels and the mice, they were pushing those sleepy daffodil bulbs upward so that they could come out through the ground. And then above ground, the fox and a few neighborhood cats, they were trying to break up some of that cold ground so that those tender flower stems could get up more easily and reach the sunlight. And they hoped that when Philbert awoke on his birthday, came up to say hello again to the world, there would be this wonderful display of bright yellow daffodils all over the place. And you know what? It worked. Philbert awoke on his March birthday to this beautiful golden spring day, fields of beautiful flowers, and the love of his friends who had done all of this for him. And Philbert was one happy groundhog. And he was so happy, in fact, so thrilled, that his friends remembered that day, and they decided that they were going to do the same thing next year when Philbert awoke from his hibernation. And so they did the same thing next year, and Philbert was happy again. And so they decided, we're going to do this every year. And Philbert thought, what a lucky groundhog am I, and what great friends do I have. But then, one year, something went dreadfully wrong. Philbert awoke really, really early. And Philbert's friends thought it was probably because he had not eaten enough before he went to bed. And so his stomach started grumbling and growling, and that's what woke him up. And he poked his head up out of his hole, and this blast of cold air rattled him. And he squinted his eyes because it was so bright outside, because the sun was reflecting on all of that snow, and there were no flowers anywhere. The earth was covered with all this white stuff, and where were his friends? Philbert was all alone. Well, he took a few hesitant steps outside of his hole, but the snow was painful on the tender pads of his feet, and he was so lonely, and he was so afraid that he just dove right back down into his hole, wondering what had happened. What had happened to the world? Why had the world changed like this? Well, he didn't know quite what to think, and all he could do was just eat a little bit of his leftover dinner from back in November, and then he just kind of put himself back to sleep. And he slept for about 6 more weeks. And then he woke up again, a little afraid to look outside, what might be out there. Is it still going to be real nasty and real cold and icy? But then poked his nose up, and there were his friends. And there were all the daffodils, just as in other years. And Philbert did not realize that he had awoken 6 weeks too early. He just thought that something was wrong with the world, and that's why he got upset. and his stomach hurt a little bit too, and he was kind of cranky back in February. So that's the story of the real Groundhog Day. It was the year that Philbert just woke up too early while there were still 6 more weeks of winter. And once in a while, after that, the same thing would happen again. Philbert's stomach would start growling, and he would wake up on the 2nd of February, and eventually people started to notice that. And they thought, maybe that groundhog is the animal that's really in charge of spring and tells us when spring is going to happen. And when Philbert kind of recognized that the people were paying attention to him, sometimes he would purposely wake himself up early just to give people a reason to celebrate and to cheer. He really wasn't ready to wake up, but he just liked to see people being happy. And so today, Philbert's great-great-great-great-grandsons and granddaughters, they are continuing this tradition. And one of them, one of the very famous groundhogs, lives in Pennsylvania, but another lesser-known groundhog lives right in Sun Prairie, and his name is Jimmy. And this morning, I think he popped his head out of his hole, and I haven't watched the news to see what happened, but looking at it outside, I'm sure he went back down for another 6 weeks. So that's the story of Philbert and the beginning of Groundhog Day, and I hope you've enjoyed it. We're going to sing you out with our next hymn. Enjoy your classes.